Alright, hey everybody, welcome to another unboxing video. It's more of an unpacking this time, but my name's Brent Hodgkins here at Breathe and Music on my Warrior Records YouTube channel, so thanks for joining us. Today we're unboxing a Vantage VS-695, 695, which has just arrived, and as some of you will know, these are a Japanese made guitar. They come out of the Matsumoto factory, I think, in Japan, where a lot of other guitars were made throughout, from mid-70s through to about 1987. I think the factory closed down, but you'd know the factory from the brands like Epiphone, Washburn, Westtone, Vantage of course, and yeah, so many others. Ibanez were all coming out of that factory. So yeah, it's a real shame that they shut down and the building was actually demolished, I think, in '89, but they did so much for the world of guitars, and so it's pretty cool to be able to pick up some of these vintage guitars, and quite often, you know, they're still really well priced, but I think collectors are sort of getting onto them now because you can get vintage guitars at reasonable prices, which is exactly what was happening back in the day. They were producing high quality or very good quality guitars at affordable prices, and of course that affected your Fenders and your Gibsons and everything else that at the time went through a bit of a slump because they were releasing a lot of guitars still at, you know, pretty much premium prices, but the quality went downhill just because they were trying to compete. And yeah, so I think this Matsumoto factory had pretty much one of the forerunners of the CNC printing machines. They had, I think it was called a tape drill machine, that was able to produce these guitars one after the other, you know, perfectly basically. So they were producing very high quality production and using quality woods and that sort of stuff. So some really great stuff coming out of that factory. So I'll stop talking and get into it. Now the reason I bought this one was because I've got a Vantage VS-600 that I bought in 1994. So I was about 18, 19 years old, and at the time I was heavily influenced by bands like Caius, Rage Against the Machine, a lot of heavier stuff too, like your Metallica and all of that, of course, but it was really, for me at the time, about those bands that were tuning down. Caius, I think, was in a drop C tuning, so it was all down a whole step, like a D standard, and then top string went down to the C. And I was just after a guitar that could handle it basically, and at the time I was actually I'd come off seeing one of my first big concerts, Faith No More, played at Festival Hall in Melbourne, and I was about 15 or 14 or 15 or something when I saw them. And I saw, at the time they had Dean Menter playing guitar on that tour, and he was using a Les Paul, a Gibson Les Paul Heritage Premium Plus Cherry Sunburst guitar that I fell in love with, and I had my heart set on getting one. And I took up a job as a trolley boy at the local Safeway store and worked, and I was looking to buy this guitar, and we went down to Melbourne. My parents were kind enough to drive me down for the day and look at guitar stores, and we went to, I think it was Allen's Music in the city, and found this Les Paul Heritage, and it was $5,000, and I was pretty keen on getting it, and I ummed and ahed, and then we went back home. I didn't buy it then and there, and went back home, and I ended up going into my local music store, Marvin Music, and they had this Vantage VS-600, and I played it in the store, and it was so versatile. It just did everything I wanted. Solid body, sounded great, handled the down tuning really well, and it was the closest thing I could find to Josh Homme's Ovation he was using in Caius basically, and he had a very similar experience. I think I read back then that he bought that Ovation for like $450 or something, and it just did everything he needed. So basically I found the Vantage VS-600 for $420, I think I got it for, and it just was amazing. So I learnt nearly every Kaya song, and I used to love playing that stuff, the stoner rock. And so anyway, that Vantage was the guitar I went to Melbourne with and got into bands down there, and I was in a hardcore band called Block, and we played a heap of shows for about 3 or 4 years down there, and that was my main guitar. I ended up buying my first Paul Reed Smith Custom 22 in 2001, I think, while I was down in Melbourne, and even though I bought that, I still used the Vantage. I preferred that over this $5,000 guitar or whatever it was, the PRS. I mainly use the PRS now, well, another one, I've had a few since. But yeah, that's how good this Vantage was. I just loved it, loved the feel of it, loved to play it, loved the sound, loved the look. So anyway, after all of that, I did get rid of that guitar. I swapped it with a friend. We did a deal probably 2009, I think, and I don't know why, when I had so much history with that Vantage, that I got rid of it, but I did. And strangely enough, over the whole COVID lockdown and all of that, just coming out of that in 2021, it might have been, or the end of 2020, it must have been 21, that the same friend got reconnected with me and asked if I still had the guitar he had swapped, which was a ESP LTD M1000, which was an amazing guitar for metal. I was in metal bands at the time, and that's, I think, why I was attracted to it. It had active EMG pickups that were really great for what I was doing, really tight, sharp metal. But he asked if I still had the ESP LTD. I said, yep. Have you still got the Vantage? And he said, yep. And so we organised to catch up, and we did the swap back. So it's actually back in my collection, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. But yeah, that's enough of setting up the scene, I suppose. So anyway, that's why I love Vantage. And when I saw this come up on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace for sale, at about a third of the price of what you see them going for these days, because people are after vintage guitars, I had to jump at it and buy it. So without further ado, I'll take a look, and here we go. And before I put the case down, they all come with the same Vantage case with the Vantage printed on there, and here she is. Still got the old tagger on it. So at some stage it was went through the Dynamic Musical Enterprises and that's the old warranty card. Hasn't got a year or anything on there, but again, you know, these were the factory was only open till 1987. I'm not sure if there's a way to date these, but it has got a sticker on the back, serviced by Adelaide guitar doctor Neil Andrews. It's got a phone number, which I doubt would still be valid, and then it's got a date 1st of December 1982. So it was serviced in 1982. And look, this is in pretty great condition. They were one of the first guitars that I know of to have the neck through, and then you've got the wings glued on, of course, but that's all, no, it's bolt-on neck, what am I saying? Bolt-on neck, but you've got your plate there with the V, Vantage V, made in Japan. There is a serial number, but I'm not sure if there's a way to track down the serial numbers. I haven't looked into how their serial numbers work, and if they are a date, if we can get a date out of that, not sure. But one of the fantastic things about these guitars was I think they were just ahead of their day, in that you've got you know, coil splits, you've got a phase switch, as well as your normal volumes and tones for your pickups, and your three-way switch pickup selector. And I think, you know, they were doing that back in the early or mid 70s to 1987, and it's only now really that I think a lot of modern guitars are picking up on those sort of functions, like the coil splits and stuff. So yeah, so I think that's really cool. It's one thing I loved about the first Vantage I got, because it was so versatile. It could recreate any sound you wanted, basically. So yeah, this one I'll probably get a little clean up, but I mean, in terms of, you know, there's no rust. That's just amazing. Like, whether they've been replaced or not, I can't tell. It kind of looks original, but they're so clean. But really, the whole guitar is in really great condition. There's a little bit of fret wear, but nothing too bad. Don't think we're going to expect buzzing frets or anything like that. Of course, not tuned to ship. But yeah, I'm pretty wrapped with that. And I think it just looks really cool, and it's quite different to my other one. So I'll get the other one out, we can have a look, and see the comparison. Yeah, pretty similar, but kind of dig the headstock being a little bit longer. Pretty unique sort of unique look to the headstock as well. So that's the VS-600 as opposed to the VS-695, and straight away you can see the darker finish on the headstock and the body. Yeah, not sure if that's been an add-on. I don't think so. No, I think they are. The 695 came with the stop tailpiece, and the very similar to the Gibson TP1, I think it is, bridge in the saddle, whereas this has just got the one all-in-one design set up there. Yeah. So anyway, good to have the brothers, and yeah, look forward to plugging them in. I'll plugging this new one in and seeing how she goes. They typically rock. They sound pretty good. They haven't got a pick on me. That's all right. Yeah, the neck feels great. Feels awesome. There is a little bit of a ding side of the neck there. That's it's hardly noticeable, but it's certainly not going to affect playing. Alright, I might wrap it up there. Sorry for those of you that wanted to hear it. I will, I might, if anyone's interested, I might do a follow-up video and plug it in so you can hear how it sounds, but for this one it was just an unboxing video. So thanks heaps for joining me. Check out other unboxings on this channel if you're interested, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks heaps. Bye.